Christmas Eve smothered the dead city in ash and snow. In a basement cell, the army general counted breaths while rebels broke him for names that didn't exist. Radios hissed with prayers. Outside, ruins echoed with bells from a church without walls. Then, the river rippled. A woman rose from the black water, ice sliding from her cloak, a golden rifle cradled like a promise. She didn't run. She listened. Wind, distance, guilt. One shot erased a commander. Another cut the lights. In the silence, hope learned to breathe again. Christmas bells stopped. The city waited for mercy tonight alone. The city had no name anymore. Maps called it Riverside. Locals called it nothing. They were gone. Snow mixed with ash. It fell on buildings that leaned like broken teeth. Christmas lights still blinked in third-floor windows where no one lived. Red, green, white. They ran on generators that coughed diesel smoke into the frozen air. The rebels kept them running. They wanted the city to look alive when cameras came. General Nathan Calloway had tried to stop this 3 months ago. He brought food convoys, medical supplies, unarmed negotiators in white vests. The rebels took the supplies and shot the negotiators. Then, they took the general. That was 14 days ago. Now the city belonged to them. Commander Victor Strand and his Revolutionary Brigade controlled the high-rises. They had anti-aircraft guns on the rooftops, mortars in the parking garages, machine gun nests where families used to eat breakfast. They painted their flag on every wall, a broken chain wrapped around a fist. The military tried to get Calloway back. First came the drones. Strand's men shot them down with shoulder-fired missiles. Then came the helicopters at night. They lost 2 Blackhawks to RPGs before pulling back. Then came Delta Force operators who rappelled from the roofs. Only one made it out. He said the general was alive, still talking, still refusing to break. That was 4 days ago. By Christmas Eve, command had stopped trying. The dead city was a graveyard for rescue attempts. Every soldier sent in became another name on the casualty list. Every helicopter became scrap metal. The Joint Chiefs held a conference call. They agreed. Calloway was lost. They would negotiate after the holiday. Maybe trade prisoners. Maybe just wait until the rebels executed him on camera. They sent the message at 1,800 hours. Stand down. No further rescue operations authorized. The message never reached everyone. In his cell, Calloway sat on concrete. His left eye was swollen shut. 3 ribs were cracked. His uniform was gone. They gave him prison grays that smelled like gasoline. The cell was 10 feet by 8 feet. No windows. 1 door. 1 bulb that never turned off. They came every 6 hours. 4 men. They asked questions Calloway couldn't answer even if he wanted to. Names of undercover agents who didn't exist. Locations of weapons caches that were never built. Passwords to systems he had never seen. When he said nothing, they hit him. When he still said nothing, they brought the bucket. Waterboarding had a clinical sound. In reality, it was drowning that stopped before death. Calloway had been through SARE training. He knew the physiology. The brain panics. The body convulses. The mind breaks into pieces and forgets how to reassemble. But he didn't break. Not because he was strong, because there was nothing to give them. Commander Strand visited on Christmas Eve. He came alone. No guards, no questions. He sat on a metal stool and lit a cigarette. "You know what happens tomorrow, General?" Calloway said nothing. "We take you outside, put you in front of a camera. You read a statement. You say the government abandoned its people. You say the military is corrupt. You apologize for your crimes." Strand exhaled smoke. "Then we let you go." "I don't believe you." "Smart man." Strand smiled. "We shoot you after the broadcast, but we let you write a letter first. To your daughter, Rachel, yes, she's 13, plays soccer, lives with your ex-wife in Maryland." Calloway's jaw tightened. "Don't worry," Strand said. "We won't hurt her. We just want you to know we could." He stood, dropped the cigarette, ground it under his boot. "Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Merry Christmas, General." The door closed. The lock clicked. Calloway put his head against the wall. His radio was gone. His phone was gone. His men were gone. He was alone. Outside the cell, the city waited. Snow piled on the streets. Wind moved through broken windows. In a plaza 2 blocks away, a Christmas tree still stood. Someone had decorated it in October, before the siege. Now, the ornaments hung from bare branches like forgotten promises. The rebels patrolled in threes. They wore mismatched uniforms, Russian vests, American helmets, Chinese rifles. They were farmers and factory workers and college students who believed the revolution would fix everything the government broke. They were wrong, but they believed it hard enough to kill. Strand's command post sat on the 8th floor of what used to be City Hall. He had 20 men there, radios, maps, surveillance feeds from cameras planted throughout the ruins. He watched everything, controlled everything, except the river. The river moved through the city like a black vein. It was frozen on the surface, but underneath, the current still flowed. The rebels didn't patrol it. They didn't mine it. They assumed no one was stupid enough to use it. They were wrong. At 2,100 hours, the river rippled near the South Bridge. Something moved beneath the ice. Not a fish, not debris, a hand. Fingers gripped the edge of a broken pier. A shape pulled itself from the water. Black wetsuit, black rebreather, black hood that covered everything except the eyes. The figure crouched on the pier, listened, waited, then reached back into the water and pulled up a waterproof case. Inside the case was a rifle. Not black, not gray. Gold. The city didn't know it yet, but the hunter had arrived. The cold woke Calloway. Not the cold of the cell, the cold inside him. He had felt it before. Afghanistan, 2009. Ambushed in a valley with no air support. Watched his men die one by one while he radioed for help that never came. He survived because a 19-year-old private threw himself on a grenade. The cold started then. The knowledge that survival sometimes meant watching better people die. Now, the cold was back. He counted his breaths. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. SEER instructors taught him that. Control your breathing. Control your fear. Control your fear. Control your mind. But his mind kept slipping. Rachel, 13 years old. Last time he saw her was September. She showed him her report card. All A's except for English. She hated reading, loved math, wanted to be an engineer. He told her he was proud. Told her he'd be home for Thanksgiving. He lied. The mission came up. 3-week deployment. Humanitarian corridor through contested territory. Easy job, safe job. Politicians needed a photo op. Calloway needed the promotion to 3 stars. Win-win. Except nothing about war was ever easy or safe. The door opened. Calloway didn't look up. He counted the footsteps. 4 men, same as always. Stand up, General. He stood. Slowly. His ribs screamed. His left knee barely held weight. The rebels had worked him over carefully. Nothing permanent. Nothing that wouldn't heal. They wanted him presentable for the camera. The leader was a man called Gregor. Thick neck. Scarred knuckles. Former boxer. He spoke English with a Moscow accent that didn't match his face. You ready to talk? I have nothing to say. Gregor nodded to the others. They moved fast. Grabbed Calloway's arms. Forced him into the chair. Strapped his wrists to the armrests. The bucket came next. Calloway closed his eyes. Tried to find that place in his mind where the pain couldn't reach. The instructors said it existed. A room inside yourself where you could hide. He never found it. The water hit his face like a wall. Blocked his nose. Blocked his throat. His lungs burned. His body thrashed against the straps. The world became a roaring nothing. Then it stopped. He gasped. Choked. Vomited water. You have names, Gregor said. Agents embedded in our territory. Give us 3 names. We let you rest. Calloway said nothing. There were no agents. Command didn't embed people in rebel territory anymore. Too risky, too expensive. This was all theater. Gregor knew it. Calloway knew it. But the theater continued. The water came again, and again, and again. After the 4th time, Gregor pulled up a stool, sat close, spoke quietly. You think you're protecting something, General. Your honor, your country, your daughter's memory of you. He lit a cigarette, offered it. Calloway didn't take it. But no one is coming for you. You understand this, yes? Calloway met his eyes. They'll come. Who? Your Delta Force? We killed them. Your helicopters? We shot them down. Your government? They already wrote you off. Gregor stood. You're a ghost. A casualty report. A regret in some politician's speech. He walked to the door. Turn back. Tomorrow you die. But tonight, you can choose how. Dignity or drowning, camera or bucket. He shrugged. Your choice, General. The door closed. Calloway sat alone. Water dripped from his hair. His chest ached. His throat burned. He thought about Rachel again, wondered what they told her. Probably nothing. Classified mission. Can't discuss details. She was used to it. Military families learn to live with silence. But this silence was different. This was the permanent kind. His mind drifted. He saw faces, men he'd commanded, men he'd buried. Private Chen who took the grenade, Lieutenant Kowalski who bled out in his arms, Sergeant Davis who stepped on a mine, all of them gone. All of them younger than his daughter would ever be. He whispered into the empty cell, "Send help." The words felt stupid, desperate, like a child's prayer. But he said them anyway. 3 floors above, in the command center, Strand studied his maps. The execution site was marked in red, the plaza with the Christmas tree. He'd set up cameras there, 3 angles, good lighting. The broadcast would go live at dawn. Every network would carry it. The world would watch. "Commander," one of his men said, "radio check complete, all posts reporting." "Good." Strand traced a line on the map. The perimeter, 20 checkpoints, 40 men rotating shifts. No one gets in, no one gets out. He felt confident, secure. He didn't know the river had already been crossed. He didn't know the hunter was inside his city. He didn't know the golden rifle was being assembled in the ruins of a church. He didn't know Christmas Eve was about to become something other than a celebration. Outside, snow continued to fall. The city held its breath. And in the darkness, something moved. Her name was classified. Her rank was classified. Her existence was classified. Official records listed her as Kia, killed in action, January 2019, during a black operation in Eastern Europe. Closed casket funeral, military honors, folded flag presented to her mother. The army filed the paperwork. The case was closed. But she wasn't dead. She was something else now. Something without a file, without orders, without a chain of command. The soldiers who knew her called her Winter. Not because of her personality, because of when she worked. Cold months, long nights, targets that needed to disappear when the world wasn't watching. The Golden Rifle was older than her career. It started as a standard M110, Army issue, semi-automatic, 7.62 NATO, effective range, 800 meters. She'd carried it through 12 deployments. Then came the mission that killed her officially. A warlord in the Balkans, chemical weapons, civilian targets. The UN debated sanctions. The army sent Winter. She took the shot from 1,400 meters. Wind was 12 knots. Temperature was -8 Celsius. The bullet traveled for 3 seconds before it found the target. One shot, no witnesses, no proof. Except the warlord's men found the shell casing, traced it, followed it, hunted her across 2 countries. She barely made it out, lost her spotter, lost her radio, lost everything except the rifle. When she finally reached friendly territory, command made a decision. The mission was too dirty, too illegal, too complicated, easier to bury it. Bury her. They offered her a deal. Take the death certificate, take the discharge, disappear. She took it. For 3 years, she lived quiet. Montana, small cabin, no neighbors, no phone. She hunted deer, fixed her roof, tried to sleep without dreaming. But the rifle stayed in her closet. And the dreams never stopped. Then came the transmission. Christmas Eve. 1,600 hours. She was splitting firewood when her old radio crackled, the one she should have destroyed, the one she kept anyway. The signal was weak, broken, but she heard enough. General Calloway. Captured. Dead city. No rescue authorized. She stood there, axe in hand, snow falling, the wood half split. She knew Calloway. Everyone in special operations knew him. He'd been a major when she was a private. He'd signed off on her sniper school application when others said women couldn't handle the course. She never met him personally, never shook his hand, but she owed him. The transmission repeated. She listened 3 times, memorized the coordinates, then she went inside. The rifle case was covered in dust. She opened it. The weapon gleamed. Someone had gold-plated it as a joke during her last deployment, a gag gift from her unit. She'd kept it. Not because it was funny, because it reminded her of people she'd lost. She cleaned the rifle, checked the scope, loaded the magazines. Then she called a number she wasn't supposed to have. Logistics. This is Winter. I need transport to Riverside. Silence. Then, that designation is inactive. I'm activating it. No authority. No authorization. No. Calloway is alive. I'm going in. More silence. Transport leaves in 2 hours. Peterson Air Base. Don't be late. The line went dead. She packed light, wetsuit, rebreather, ammunition, thermal scope, first aid. She left everything else. Pictures, clothes, the life she'd built. She didn't plan to come back. The flight took 6 hours. Military cargo plane, no windows, no questions. The pilot dropped her 20 kilometers from the city. Parachute insertion, night jump. She landed in a frozen field and walked. The city appeared at 2,000 hours. Smoke and snow, ruins and shadows. She could see the checkpoints from 2 kilometers out. Rebel positions marked by generator lights. Thermal signatures, predictable patterns. She circled south. Found the river. The current was faster than she expected. The ice was thicker. She put on the wetsuit, attached the rifle case to her back, entered the water. The cold hit like a hammer. Her body wanted to seize, to panic. She controlled her breathing, kicked against the current, swam beneath the ice. The city looked different from underwater. Buildings were shadows. Lights were ghosts. She surfaced once to orient, then dove again. 15 minutes. Her body was shutting down, hypothermia creeping in. She saw the pier, the broken dock. She kicked hard. Her hand found concrete. She pulled herself up, lay on the pier, breathed. Then she heard voices. 2 rebels, 30 meters away, patrolling the waterfront. They spoke Russian, complained about the cold, about Christmas duty, about Strand's paranoia. Winter didn't move, didn't breathe, became part of the darkness. The rebels passed. Their footsteps faded. She opened the rifle case, assembled the weapon, checked the chamber. The gold finish caught the moonlight. She covered it with a black cloth. Above her, the city spread out like a corpse. Command post 8 blocks north, Execution Plaza 4 blocks east, Calloway's cell somewhere in between. She had no backup, no intelligence, no exfiltration plan. Just the rifle, just the training, just the debt. She moved into the ruins. The snow covered her tracks. The wind covered her sound. Winter was hunting again. And in his cell, Calloway sat in darkness, unaware that hope was measuring distance, calculating windage, and preparing to kill everyone standing between him and freedom. The city's bells tolled midnight. Christmas had arrived. The church had no roof. Mortar fire took it in October. The walls still stood. Gothic arches, stained glass windows shattered into colored gravel, pews overturned and burned for heat. But the bell tower remained. Winter climbed the interior stairs. Each step was ice. The stones were loose. She moved slow, tested her weight. The rifle case pressed against her spine. At the top, she found what she needed, a clear line of sight. 360 degrees. The command post visible to the north, the execution plaza to the east, the river behind her. She set up position, pulled the rifle from its case, extended the bipod, checked the scope. The thermal sight showed the city in shades of heat. Warm bodies glowed white, cold ruins stayed black. She counted 47 signatures, rebels at their posts, some moving, most still. She found the command post, 8 signatures on the 8th floor, one brighter than the others. Strand, sitting at a desk, smoking. She watched him for 5 minutes, studied his routine. He stood every 10 minutes, walked to the window, looked out at the city, returned to his desk. Predictable, fatal, but not yet. She needed intelligence first. She scanned the buildings, found the cell block, 3 blocks east, basement level, 2 heat signatures at the door, guards, 1 signature inside. Calloway. He was sitting, not moving much, either injured or conserved energy, probably both. Winter calculated. Basement depth, wall thickness, window positions, She couldn't shoot through to the cell. Too much concrete, too many obstacles. She needed another approach. The city's layout spread before her. She'd studied maps during the flight, but maps didn't show the current state. Which buildings were collapsed? Which streets were blocked? Which paths were clear? She spent an hour observing, learning. The rebels followed patterns, patrol routes, guard rotations, communication checks every 30 minutes. They were disciplined, well-trained, but they were also human. They got cold, got tired, got careless. At 0130 hours, the north checkpoint went dark. Generator failure. The guards radioed it in. Someone told them to fix it. They complained, argued. Finally, 2 men left their post to find fuel. The checkpoint stayed empty for 12 minutes. Winter marked it. Weakness. At 0200 hours, a patrol stopped to smoke. 3 men, they stood in an alley, shared cigarettes, talked about home, about the revolution, about what they'd do after the war. They stayed there for 8 minutes. Another weakness. By 0300 hours, Winter had a complete picture. 47 rebels, 23 positions, 16 fixed posts, 7 mobile patrols, shift change at 0600. Dawn execution at 0600. She had 3 hours. She left the bell tower, moved through the ruins. The city was a maze of rubble and ice. She navigated by memory, by instinct, by the training that never left. A patrol passed 10 meters away. She froze behind a collapsed wall, became stone. They walked past, didn't look, didn't see. She continued. The command post sat behind a perimeter of sandbags and wire. Guards at the entrance, lights on every floor, cameras watching the approaches. She didn't go near it, not yet. Instead, she circled to the east, found the power station, a small building with generators running. 2 guards outside, bored, cold. She watched them for 20 minutes. They followed a pattern. Walk the perimeter, stop, smoke, walk again. On the 3rd rotation, 1 guard went inside to warm up. The other stayed outside, alone. Winter moved, silent, fast. She came from behind, used a suppressed pistol she'd taken from the logistics armory. 1 shot. The guard dropped. No sound, no alarm. She dragged the body behind the building, took his radio, his coat, his access card. Then, she went inside. The 2nd guard was pouring coffee. Didn't hear her, didn't turn. She used the knife. Quick, quiet, necessary. 2 bodies. No witnesses. She studied the generator panel. 3 units, each feeding different sections. North, east, west. She set timers, 30-minute delays, staggered shutdowns. When the lights went out, the rebels would panic, run to restore power, leave positions empty. Chaos. Opportunity. She planted the charges. Military grade, small, efficient, then left the power station and moved toward the cell block. The streets were empty. Snow fell harder now. Wind picked up. Christmas morning approaching with cold and darkness. She reached the block at 0400 hours. 2 guards at the entrance, alert, armed. AK-47 seconds, pistols, radios. She couldn't take them without noise, not yet. She needed a different approach. The building had ventilation shafts. She found one on the south side, rusted grate, loose bolts. She removed it, climbed inside. The shaft was tight, barely wide enough. She pulled herself through, inch by inch. The rifle scraped metal. She moved slower, quieter. The shaft opened into the basement. She could see the hallway below, the guard's position, the cell door. She waited, listened. Inside the cell, Calloway stirred, coughed. The sound echoed. 1 guard laughed, said something in Russian. The other joined in. Winter understood Russian. They were making bets. How long until the general broke, whether he'd cry on camera. They wouldn't live to collect. She checked her watch. 0430 hours. 90 minutes until execution. 60 minutes until the lights died. She settled in, controlled her breathing, became part of the darkness. The city didn't know she was there, but it would learn soon. Very soon. Dawn arrived without sun. The sky stayed gray. Snow turned to sleet. The city woke to the sound of generators and boots. Winter watched from the ventilation shaft. The guards changed positions, stretched. One checked his phone, no signal. The city's infrastructure was dead. Only military radios worked. At 0520 hours, Strand's voice came over the radio. All positions. Execution in 40 minutes. Bring the general to the plaza. Camera crew en route. The guards stood. One unlocked the cell door. Winter couldn't see inside, but she heard the voices. Get up, General. I can walk. We'll see. They pulled Calloway out. He stumbled, caught himself. His face was swollen, left eye closed, but he stood straight, refused to bend. The guards pushed him toward the stairs. Winter watched them go, waited until their footsteps faded. Then she dropped from the shaft. The basement was empty. She moved fast, found a window, high, small, rusted bars. She pulled a small torch from her pack. Cutting torch. Titanium bars took 40 seconds each. She worked in silence. The smell of burning metal filled the air. 3 bars down, gap wide enough. She climbed out, found herself in an alley. The plaza was 2 blocks north. She ran. The church bell tower was closer. She reached it in 90 seconds, climbed the stairs. The rifle was where she left it, waiting. She assembled her position, checked the scope. The plaza came into focus. They'd set up a stage, makeshift, plywood and crates, cameras on tripods, lights powered by a generator. Strand stood to the side. 20 rebels formed a perimeter, weapons ready. Calloway was pushed onto the stage. Forced to his knees, someone handed Strand a paper. The execution statement. Winter calculated distance. 412 meters. Wind from the northwest. 8 knots. Temperature -3 Celsius. Humidity high, sleet falling. Difficult shot, not impossible. She ranged the targets. Strand first, then the camera operators, then the guards closest to Calloway. 5 shots, maybe 6. Then chaos. Her finger touched the trigger. She controlled her breathing. Heartbeat slowed. The world narrowed to the scope. Strand stepped forward, raised the paper, began to read. People of the world, today you witness. Winter's timer hit 0600. The lights died. All of them. Command post, plaza, guard towers. Every generator she'd sabotaged shut down simultaneously. The city plunged into darkness. Rebels shouted. Radios crackled. Confusion spread like fire. Strand stopped reading, turned to his men. What happened? Power failure, Commander. All sectors. Fix it. Now. Men ran toward the power station, left their posts, created gaps. Winter shifted position, found new targets. The rebels were silhouettes now, shapes against snow. She fired. The first shot took the guard standing behind Calloway, center mass. He dropped without sound. The suppressed rifle was nearly silent. The distance made it invisible. The second shot hit a camera operator. He fell forward, knocked over the tripod. Rebels started shooting. At nothing. At shadows, at each other. Strand screamed orders. Hold position, don't fire unless you see. The third shot cut him off. Not a kill shot. She hit his shoulder, spun him around, dropped him behind cover. She wanted him alive, wanted him scared. The plaza emptied. Rebels scattered, took defensive positions, fired into the darkness. Calloway didn't move. He stayed on his knees, waiting. Understanding that someone was out there, someone was fighting. Winter fired again, hit a guard tower. The man tumbled, fell 3 stories, landed in snow. The rebels were panicking now. They couldn't see the shooter, couldn't find the source. The shots came from different angles, different heights. Winter was moving. After each shot, she relocated. Bell tower, rooftop, window, never the same position twice. She trained for this. Urban combat, multiple targets, limited ammunition, every shot had to count. She counted her rounds, 18 left, 47 rebels in the city. Math wasn't good, but she didn't need to kill them all. Just enough. Just the right ones. At 0615, the power came back on. Someone bypassed the charges. Generators roared, lights blazed. Winter was exposed. She dropped flat. A machine gun opened up. Tracers lit the sky. Rounds chewed through stone. The bell tower shook. She rolled, found cover, waited for the gun to stop. 30 seconds. Reload. She moved, sprinted across the roof, jumped to the next building. The machine gun tracked her. Late. Slow. She fired back. One shot. Hit the gunner. He slumped over the weapon. The gun went silent. Winter reached new cover. Caught her breath. Her body was shutting down. Adrenaline fading. Exhaustion creeping in. She'd been awake for 30 hours. In combat for one. But the general was still alive. Still kneeling in the plaza. She checked her scope. Found Strand. He was being carried into the command post. Wounded. Angry. Shouting. The execution was cancelled. For now. But they wouldn't let Calloway go. They'd move him. Hide him. Kill him somewhere private. Winter had to move first. She descended the building. Used a fire escape. Reached street level. The rebels were regrouping. She could hear the radio chatter. They were organizing a sweep, building by building. Time was running out. She circled wide. Approached the plaza from the south. Moved through the ruins. The golden rifle was slung across her back. She switched to the pistol. Close quarters now. A rebel appeared around a corner. She fired twice. He dropped. Another came from behind. She turned, fired. He fell. Training. Muscle memory. Kill or be killed. She reached the plaza's edge. Calloway was being moved. 4 guards, they had him between them, walking toward a vehicle. Winter raised the rifle, found the scope, ranged the targets. But before she could fire, someone grabbed her from behind. Strong hands. Chokehold. She couldn't breathe. She dropped the rifle. Went for the knife. Couldn't reach it. The world started to fade. Then she heard a voice. Let her go. Calloway. Standing. Free. Holding a guard's rifle. The rebel released Winter. Turned. Calloway fired. The rebel fell. Winter gasped. Filled her lungs. Looked at Calloway. He looked back. You're Winter. You're alive. Thanks to you. They had no time for more. The city was waking up, hunting them. Can you walk? Winter asked. Can you shoot? She picked up the golden rifle, smiled. Watch me. They moved through the ruins like ghosts. Calloway's ribs screamed with each step. Winter's body was breaking down. Hypothermia, exhaustion, combat stress. But they moved. Behind them, the city erupted. Searchlights swept the streets. Vehicles roared to life. Rebels poured from buildings. Strand's voice echoed over radios. Find them. Both of them. Alive. Winter led. She knew the terrain now. Knew the gaps. The shadows. The places where rebels didn't look. They reached a collapsed department store. 4 floors of concrete and steel twisted into abstract sculpture. Winter pulled Calloway inside. We need to rest, he said. We need to leave. She checked her ammunition. 4 magazines left. 28 rounds total. The perimeter is locked down. Every exit is covered. Then we make a new exit. She moved to a window, studied the city. The river was 8 blocks south. If they reached it, they could swim downstream, outside the rebel zone, into friendly territory. 8 blocks, might as well be 8 miles. Calloway sat against a wall, touched his ribs, winced. How many are out there? Started with 47. Killed 9, wounded 3. She did the math. 35 active combatants. And we have? 1 rifle, 1 pistol, 1 knife. Bad odds. I've had worse. When? Kandahar, 2009. Ambushed with 12 men, only 2 of us walked out. Winter glanced at him. The grenade story. You heard it? Everyone heard it. Private Chen saved your life. Calloway nodded. Quiet. The memory was a weight. Winter understood. She had her own ghosts, her own Private Chens. A vehicle passed outside. Searchlight swept the building. They pressed against the wall, stayed still. The light moved on. Why did you come? Calloway asked. You signed my application. Sniper school. I signed 100 applications. You signed mine when others said no. Said women couldn't handle it. Were they right? Winter smiled. I'm here. You're alive. You tell me. Calloway almost laughed. Pain stopped him. We need to move, Winter said. They'll search this building in 10 minutes. Where? The church. Bell tower. High ground. Clear sight lines. They'll surround it. Then they'll die trying. She helped him stand. They moved deeper into the ruins. The department store connected to an office building through a sky bridge. Glass was shattered. Wind howled through. They crossed. Careful. Ice made the floor deadly. Behind them, voices. Rebels entering the department store. Search every floor. Winter and Calloway reached the office building, descended the stairs, emerged in a parking garage. Empty, dark, their footsteps echoed. A vehicle sat in the corner. Old ambulance, rebel markings. Winter checked it, keys in the ignition. Seriously? Calloway said. Gift from the universe. Or a trap. Only one way to know. She opened the driver's door, checked for bombs, wires, pressure plates, nothing. She got in, turned the key. The engine started. Calloway climbed in the passenger side. This feels wrong. It's a war. Everything feels wrong. She put it in drive, rolled out of the garage. The streets were chaos, rebels running everywhere, vehicles blocking intersections, searchlights sweeping. Winter turned on the ambulance lights. Siren blended into the chaos. A rebel flagged them down. Where are you going? Commander's orders. Medical supplies. What supplies? For Strand. He's wounded. The rebel hesitated, then waved them through. They drove. 4 blocks, 5, 6. This is actually working, Calloway said. Then the radio crackled. All units. Stolen ambulance. License uniform 7-3. Stop on site. Winter cursed. Hit the gas. Behind them, vehicles gave chase. Machine guns opened fire. Rounds punched through the ambulance. Glass exploded. Winter swerved, took a hard left, entered an alley, too narrow for the chase vehicles, but not too narrow for motorcycles. 2 bikes followed, riders with rifles. They fired on the move. Rounds hit the ambulance's frame, the back doors. Calloway grabbed a fire extinguisher, smashed the rear window, leaned out, sprayed foam. 1 rider lost control, crashed into a wall. The second kept coming. Winter took another turn. The ambulance clipped a building. Metal screamed. The vehicle shook. The motorcycle was gaining. The rider raised his rifle. Calloway threw the fire extinguisher. It hit the rider's chest. He wobbled, lost balance. The motorcycle skidded, flipped. Nice throw, Winter said. Baseball, high school. They reached the river. Winter slammed the brakes. The ambulance stopped inches from the edge. They got out, looked back. Headlights approached. Lots of them. How's your swimming? Winter asked. Terrible. Mine too. Let's go. They jumped. The water was black, cold, murderous. Winter's body seized. Hypothermia was instant. She forced herself to swim, kicked against the current. Beside her, Calloway struggled. His ribs, his exhaustion. He was sinking. Winter grabbed him, pulled him up. Stay with me, General. Can't. Too cold. Yes, you can. That's an order. He kicked. Weakly, but he kicked. They swam. The current pulled them downstream, away from the city, toward darkness. Behind them, rebels reached the riverbank, fired into the water. Bullets hissed past, splashed, missed. Winter and Calloway dove under, stayed down, lungs burning. When they surfaced, the city was distant, lights fading, voices gone. They reached the far shore, dragged themselves onto frozen mud. Lay there, breathing, shaking. We made it, Calloway whispered. Winter didn't answer. She was staring at the city, the church, the bell tower. She'd left the golden rifle there. In her rush to save Calloway, she'd abandoned it. The weapon she'd carried for 12 years. The weapon that defined her. Gone. Calloway saw her face, understood. I'm sorry. It's just a gun. No, it's not. She stood, looked at the city one last time, then turned away. They walked into the darkness. 2 survivors, 2 ghosts. Behind them, Christmas morning broke over the dead city. They walked for 2 hours, south, away from the city. The landscape was frozen farmland, no roads, no lights, just snow and darkness. Calloway's body was failing. Winter could see it. He stumbled every few steps. His breathing was shallow. Hypothermia, internal bleeding, shock. She supported his weight, kept moving. "Leave me," he said. "I'm slowing you down. We move together." "Winter." "That's an order, General." He didn't argue. At 0800 hours, they found a barn. Collapsed roof, walls barely standing. But it was shelter. Winter pulled Calloway inside, found hay, made a pile, laid him down. "Stay awake," she said. "Tired." "I know." "Stay awake anyway." She checked him over. The ribs were bad, possibly punctured lung. His left leg was swelling, infection starting. He needed a hospital, antibiotics, surgery. She had none of that. She had a first aid kit, military issue, bandages, painkillers, field dressings. She did what she could, wrapped his ribs, elevated his leg, gave him pills. "This isn't enough," he said. "It'll hold." "You're a bad liar." "I'm an excellent liar. You're just perceptive." He almost smiled, then coughed. Blood on his lips. Winter's stomach tightened. Punctured lung confirmed. She pulled out her emergency radio, the one from logistics, turned it on. Static. She adjusted the frequency. Tried military channels. Nothing. Tried again. Different frequency. Finally, "Anyone receiving, this is Rescue 6, searching for General Calloway." Winter keyed the mic. "Rescue 6, this is Winter. I have the General. Coordinates as follows." Silence. Then, "Winter, you're supposed to be KIA. Death was exaggerated. Do you copy my coordinates?" "Copied. ETA 30 minutes. Can you hold?" "Negative. General needs immediate medical. Punctured lung. Internal bleeding. We're coming fast. Stay put." The radio went silent. Winter looked at Calloway. "Help's coming." 30 minutes is a long time. "You've lasted 2 weeks. You can last 30 minutes. Those rebels, they're coming too." They heard the transmission. He was right. The radio wasn't encrypted. Strand's men monitored all frequencies. Winter moved to the barn door, looked out. The landscape was empty. For now. She checked her pistol. 1 magazine, 15 rounds. Against an army. "How many do you think?" Calloway asked. "All of them." "Can you hold?" "I held the church. I can hold a barn." "The church had height, cover. This is open ground." "Then I'll be creative." She set up position, used hay bales for cover, created firing lanes, limited approaches. At 0820, the first vehicle appeared. A truck. 8 rebels. They spread out, took positions, didn't rush. Smart, disciplined. Winter waited, let them come closer. At 200 meters, she fired. Dropped the point man. The rebels scattered, returned fire, bullets chewed through the barn walls. Winter relocated. Fired again. Another rebel down. They advanced, used cover, moved in teams. Professional. Winter shot the team leader. They stopped advancing, regrouped. She used the pause to check Calloway, still breathing, barely. "Hang on, General." "Not planning to leave." Another vehicle arrived. More rebels. They surrounded the barn, cut off escape routes. Winter counted. 20 combatants. Her. 15 rounds. Math wasn't good. But math didn't account for training. For will. For pure, stubborn refusal to lose. She fired in bursts. Controlled. Precise. Every round hit. Every round mattered. The rebels pushed forward. She held them. Barely. Her pistol clicked empty. She dropped it, grabbed a rebel rifle from earlier, AK-47, full magazine. The rebels were at the walls now. She could hear them, smell them. She fired through the gaps. Point blank, no aiming required. 3 rebels fell, but more came. Too many. One broke through. Came at her with a knife. She met him, hand to hand. No time for technique, just survival. She took the knife, drove it into his chest. He dropped. She turned. Another rebel. She fired the AK. It jammed. The rebel raised his rifle. Then his head exploded. Winter spun. A helicopter appeared over the ridge. Black, military, door gunners firing. The .50 caliber machine guns tore through the rebels, shredded their vehicles, turned the battlefield into chaos. The helicopter landed. Soldiers poured out. Delta Force, they secured the perimeter, eliminated remaining threats. A medic ran to Calloway, started working. IV, oxygen, field surgery. A colonel approached Winter. "You're Winter?" "I am." "You were KIA." "I got better." "You just saved a general." "He saved me first. Long time ago." The colonel looked at the dead rebels. The bullet-riddled barn, the impossible odds. "Command wants to debrief you." "Tell Command, I'm retired." "You can't retire. You're already dead." "Then I'm a ghost." "Ghosts don't do paperwork." The medic called out, "General stable, but we need to move. Now." They loaded Calloway onto the helicopter. Winter started to walk away. "Where are you going?" the colonel asked. "Home. We can give you a ride." "I prefer to walk." She disappeared into the snow. The helicopter lifted off, carried Calloway to safety. Below, the barn burned. The rebels retreated. Christmas morning continued, cold, quiet, victorious. Winter didn't go home. She went back. The city pulled her. The unfinished business, the golden rifle. She waited until dark, then crossed the river again. Same route, same cold, same hell. The city was different now, quieter. The rebels had pulled back. Strand's command was fracturing. Losing the general broke their morale. But they were still dangerous, still armed, still hunting. Winter moved through the shadows, reached the church, the bell tower. The rifle was gone. Of course, it was gone. The rebels found it, took it, probably analyzed it, tried to trace it. They wouldn't succeed. The rifle's serial number had been filed off years ago. No records, no trail. But it was still hers, and she wanted it back. She descended the tower, moved toward the command post. Strand was there. She could see him through the windows, wounded shoulder, bandaged, angry. The rifle sat on his desk, trophy, symbol. He was studying it, running his fingers over the gold plating, trying to understand the weapon that had destroyed his operation. Winter counted guards, 4 outside, 3 inside, all armed, all alert. 7 targets, 0 ammunition. She needed a different approach. She circled the building, found the power junction, the same one she'd sabotaged before. The rebels had repaired it. Amateur work, exposed wires, easy access. She cut the power. The building went dark. Guards shouted. Flashlights clicked on. Winter entered through a ground floor window, moved through the darkness, used the chaos. A guard appeared. She took him from behind. Sleeper hold. He dropped quiet. Second floor, 2 more guards. She used a pipe. Quick strikes. They fell. Third floor. The last guard was smarter. Heard her coming. Turned. Fired. The shot went wide. Winter closed distance. Disarmed him. Used his own rifle. He dropped. She continued. Climbed the stairs. Reached the 8th floor. Strand was waiting. Pistol aimed at the door. "I knew you'd come back," he said. Winter stopped. Hands visible. No weapon drawn. "The rifle," she said. "It's beautiful. Custom work. Gold plating. Excellent scope. Whoever made this understood their craft. Give it back." "Why?" "It's just a tool. Metal and polymer. What makes it special?" Winter didn't answer. Strand smiled. "You've killed for it. Risked everything for it. It's more than a weapon to you. It's memory." "Of what?" "People I lost. Missions I survived. The person I used to be." Strand set the rifle on the desk, kept his pistol aimed. "You can have it. But first, answer a question." "What question?" "Why save the general? You're not active duty. You have no orders, no loyalty. You died 3 years ago. I owed him. 1 signature on a form. That's your reason?" "Sometimes that's enough." Strand shook his head. "You're a weapon that refuses to rust. A soldier who won't quit. Don't you see? We're the same. We both believe in something bigger than ourselves. We're not the same. You torture. I protect. I fight for freedom. You fight for a flag. I fight for people who can't fight for themselves." "Like the general?" "Like everyone." Strand studied her. The pistol didn't waver. "I could shoot you right now." "You could." "Why don't I?" "Because you're curious. You want to know if I can take the rifle before you pull the trigger." "Can you?" Winter moved. Not toward the rifle, toward Strand. He fired. She was already moving. The round missed. Inches. She closed distance. 3 steps. 2. 1. Disarmed him. Took the pistol. Pressed it to his chest. "The rifle," she said. Strand laughed. Blood on his teeth. "Go ahead, shoot me, become what I am." Winter's finger touched the trigger. She thought about it. All the people Strand had killed, tortured, destroyed. She could end him. Should end him. But she didn't. "I'm not like you," she said. "I only kill when I have to." She lowered the pistol. Took the rifle. Slung it across her back. Strand watched her. Confused. Angry. "You're letting me live? You're wounded. Your operation is broken. Your men are deserting. You've already lost." She walked to the door. Stopped. "Merry Christmas, Commander." Then she left. Behind her, Strand sat in darkness, bleeding, beaten, alive. Winter descended the building. The guards were still unconscious. She moved through the ground floor, exited into the street. The city was silent. Snow falling. Christmas morning in full bloom. She walked to the river. Looked back one last time. The church bells started ringing. Someone had repaired them. The sound echoed across the ruins. Peace. Hope. Renewal. Winter turned away. The rifle was heavy on her back. A good weight. Familiar. She entered the water. Swam downstream. Left the city behind. On the far shore, she emerged. Stood in the snow. The sun was rising. First light of Christmas. She walked into the forest. Disappeared into the trees. The war continued. But not for her. Not tonight. Tonight, she was just a woman with a rifle, walking home. The city bells rang behind her, fading, beautiful. She didn't look back. The helicopter arrived at Walter Reed at 1,300 hours. Calloway was rushed into surgery. Collapsed lung, internal bleeding, severe dehydration. He survived. 3 days later, he woke in a hospital bed. White walls, clean sheets, the smell of antiseptic. A nurse saw him stir. "Welcome back, General." "How long?" 3 days. "You've been unconscious." The surgery went well. His daughter appeared in the doorway. Rachel, 13 years old, eyes red from crying. He tried to speak, couldn't. She ran to the bed, hugged him, careful of the tubes and wires. "I thought you were dead," she whispered. "Not yet, sweetheart. They said you were captured, that no one could save you." "Someone did." Calloway looked at the nurse. "Can I have a moment alone?" She left. Rachel sat beside the bed. "Tell me what happened." "You wouldn't believe it." "Try me." So he told her. The city, the rebels, the torture, the impossible rescue. "A woman saved you? Alone?" "A soldier. The best I ever knew." "Where is she now?" "I don't know." She disappeared. Rachel processed this. Like a guardian angel? More like a vengeful ghost. "Will you see her again?" "I hope so. I never got to thank her properly." The door opened. A colonel entered. Gray hair, metal-heavy uniform, chief of staff. "General Calloway, good to see you awake." Rachel stood. "I'll wait outside, Dad." She left. The colonel pulled up a chair. "We need to talk about Winter." "What about her?" "She's officially KIA. Has been for 3 years. But satellite footage shows someone matching her description at the Dead City. Someone who executed a solo rescue operation against 40+ hostiles. We want to find her, reinstate her, give her the Medal of Honor." "She won't accept." "How do you know?" "Because she didn't save me for a medal. She saved me because it was the right thing to do." The colonel frowned. "We still need to locate her, debrief her, understand what happened." "Good luck." "She doesn't want to be found." "Everyone leaves a trail. Not her. She's a ghost. Let her stay that way." The colonel started to argue. Stopped. Looked at Calloway's face. Saw the certainty there. "She saved your life." "She did more than that. She reminded me what we're fighting for." "And what's that?" "People who are willing to die for strangers. Who fight when everyone else quits. Who do the right thing even when it costs everything." The colonel nodded slowly. "I'll inform command that Winter remains Kia." "Thank you." He stood, saluted, left. Calloway lay back, closed his eyes, thought about the golden rifle, The cold water, the impossible odds. He'd been a general for 15 years, led thousands of soldiers, commanded operations across 3 continents, but he'd never seen anything like Winter. She was a weapon that chose its own targets, a ghost that saved the living. And somewhere out there, she was still fighting, still protecting, still refusing to quit. He hoped she found peace, knew she probably wouldn't. Some soldiers never stopped being soldiers, even in death. Especially in death. Rachel returned with coffee. "You okay, Dad?" "Yeah, sweetheart. I'm okay." "What are you thinking about?" "Heroes. And how, sometimes they come when you least expect them. Like Christmas miracles?" "Something like that." Outside, snow fell on Washington. Clean, white, pure. Christmas was 3 days past. The world was moving forward. But Calloway would never forget that night. The dead city. The torture. The woman who rose from the river with a golden rifle. He'd write a report. Classified. Eyes only. It would sit in a vault somewhere, unread, forgotten. But he'd remember. And that was enough. 2 weeks later, the story broke. CNN ran it first. Miracle Rescue. General saved by mystery sniper. Then Fox, MSNBC, BBC. Every network picked it up. The details were vague. Classified. But enough leaked to create a narrative. A lone operator. Impossible odds. Christmas Eve salvation. The internet exploded. Theories, speculation, conspiracy. Some said it was Delta Force, others said CIA, a few claimed private military contractors. No one guessed the truth. One woman, one rifle, one debt repaid. The Department of Defense issued a statement. General Calloway was rescued through a coordinated multi-agency operation. All personnel involved are commended for their bravery. Bureaucratic, vague, true in the technical sense. The rebels in the dead city collapsed within a week. Strand disappeared. His commanders surrendered. The revolution ended. The city was liberated. UN peacekeepers moved in. Reconstruction began. By February, the Christmas rescue was old news. The world moved on. Other crises, other headlines. But in certain circles, the legend grew. Special operations soldiers told the story in whispers. A woman with a golden rifle, a ghost who saved a general, a sniper who died 3 years ago but still fought. They called her Winter. The name spread, became myth. In Fort Bragg, a lieutenant asked his instructor about her. "Is Winter real?" The instructor, a grizzled sergeant with 20 years in, just smiled. "Real enough. Did you know her?" "Knew of her. She was before my time, but I know people who served with her." "What was she like?" "Focused, deadly, quiet. The kind of soldier who didn't need orders, who saw what needed doing and did it." "Why did she die?" "She didn't. She just stopped being official." The lieutenant frowned. "I don't understand. Some soldiers are too good at their job, too effective, too dangerous. The army can't control them, can't predict them, so they retire them, bury them, make them disappear. That's not fair. War isn't fair, Lieutenant. It's necessary." In Maryland, Rachel Calloway returned to school. Her friends asked about her dad, about the rescue, about what happened. She told them the truth. Most of it. A soldier saved him. Someone brave. Someone who didn't give up. Was it a man or a woman? Rachel smiled. Does it matter? Her best friend thought about it. I guess not. As long as your dad's okay. He's okay. Better than okay. That night, Rachel did research. Military records, news articles, declassified reports. She found nothing about Winter. No name, no face, no file. Just absence. The shape of a person who used to exist. But she found other things. Stories, rumors, patterns. A sniper who saved a convoy in Syria. 2018. An operator who stopped a terrorist attack in Germany. 2019. A ghost who eliminated a warlord in Africa. 2020. Different locations, different years, but the same signature. Precision, efficiency, no trace. Rachel made a file, printed the articles, highlighted the connections. She showed her father. Calloway read it. Slow, careful. You think this is all her? I think someone is still out there. Still fighting. Still saving people. Could be multiple operators. Could be. But I don't think so. Calloway looked at his daughter. Saw himself. The same instinct. The same stubbornness. What are you going to do with this? Keep it. Remember it. Maybe one day I'll meet her. And if you do, I'll say thank you. For saving you. For showing me what bravery looks like. Calloway pulled her close. Hugged her. She'd like you. How do you know? Because you're a lot like her. Strong, smart, stubborn. Rachel smiled. I'll take that as a compliment. In Montana, Winter sat by a fire. Her cabin was small, one room, one window, one door. The golden rifle hung above the fireplace, clean, oiled, ready. She'd been home for a month, quiet, peaceful. The nightmares were less frequent. The ghosts were quieter, but she knew it wouldn't last. It never did. Someone would call. Some crisis would erupt. Some general would need saving. And she'd go. Because that's what she did. What she was. A weapon that chose its own targets. A ghost that protected the living. She didn't regret it. Didn't question it. This was her purpose. Her mission. Her war. And war never ended. It just paused. Caught its breath. Waited for the next battle. Outside, snow fell. Montana winter. Quiet. Cold. Beautiful. She thought about Calloway. Wondered if he recovered. If his daughter was okay. If he remembered her. Probably not. She was just a shadow. A moment. A Christmas miracle that people would eventually forget. That was fine. She didn't need recognition. Didn't want it. She just needed to know she'd made a difference. Saved a life. Repaid a debt. That was enough. The fire crackled. Wind howled. Night deepened. Winter cleaned the rifle one more time. Force of habit. Ritual. Then she went to bed. Slept without dreams. Tomorrow would bring what it brought. Maybe peace. Maybe war. She'd be ready either way. Because some soldiers never stop fighting. Never stop protecting. Never stop being what they were trained to be. Even when the world forgets. Even when the records say they're dead. Even when peace seems possible. They remain. Vigilant. Ready. Waiting. Winter. The legend. The ghost. The sniper who saved a general on Christmas Eve. She was real. She was ready. And somewhere in the world, someone would need her again. When that moment came, she'd answer. With a golden rifle. With perfect aim. With the quiet certainty of someone who knows exactly who they are. A soldier. A ghost. A legend. Forever. 6 months passed. Spring came to the dead city. Workers cleared rubble. Rebuilt streets. Planted trees. The church was restored. New roof. New windows. The bells rang every Sunday. Children played in the plaza where the execution was supposed to happen. Their laughter echoed where gunfire once roared. A memorial was built. Black granite. Names of the fallen. Soldiers. Civilians. Rebels who surrendered and helped rebuild. Strand's name wasn't on it. He'd been captured in March. Tried. Convicted. Sentenced to life. During his trial, reporters asked about Christmas Eve. About the mysterious sniper. About how everything fell apart. He refused to answer. Just stared at the wall. Silent. But in his cell at night, he thought about the woman with the golden rifle. The ghost who spared his life. Who could have killed him but chose mercy? He didn't understand it. Didn't understand her. Maybe that was the point. Some things couldn't be understood. Only witnessed. In Washington, General Calloway returned to duty. Light duty, desk work. His ribs had healed. His lung had recovered. But he wasn't cleared for field operations. He didn't mind. He'd seen enough combat. Enough death. Enough war. Now he focused on policy. Strategy. Training the next generation. He gave a speech at West Point. Graduation ceremony. The cadets sat in perfect rows, dress uniforms, bright futures. You will face impossible situations, he told them. Moments when every option seems wrong, when every choice leads to failure. In those moments, remember this, you are not alone. Somewhere, someone is fighting beside you, even if you can't see them, even if you don't know their name. They are there. Have faith. The cadets applauded. They thought he meant fellow soldiers, unit cohesion, brotherhood. He meant something else, something he couldn't explain without revealing classified information. He meant Winter, the ghost, the legend. After the ceremony, a young cadet approached, female, confident, top of her class. "General Calloway, sir, I have a question." "Go ahead, cadet." "The rescue operation, Christmas Eve. Was it really a coordinated multi-agency effort?" Calloway studied her. Saw the intelligence in her eyes, the skepticism. "That's the official story. But sometimes, the official story protects people who deserve protection." "Like who?" "Like heroes who don't want recognition, who fight because it's right, not because it's rewarded." The cadet nodded. "I understand, sir." "Do you?" "I think so. There are soldiers who exist outside the system, who operate in the shadows, who save lives without taking credit. If such soldiers existed," Calloway said carefully, "they would be the finest this country has ever produced." The cadet saluted. "Thank you, sir." She walked away. Calloway watched her go, wondered if she'd become like Winter someday, a weapon that chose its own targets, a ghost that protected the innocent. He hoped so. The world needed more like her. In a cafe in Prague, a man read a newspaper. The headline, "Dead City Thrives, Reconstruction Complete." The man was unremarkable, mid-40s, suit, briefcase, could be anyone. But his eyes were sharp, observant, military. He read about the memorial, the trials, the recovery. His expression never changed. Then he turned to the back page. A small article, buried, easy to miss. "Unidentified sniper stops terrorist attack in Berlin, no casualties. Suspect eliminated, authorities baffled." The man smiled, set down the paper, left money on the table, walked out. In his briefcase was a file. Eyes only, classified above top secret. The file had one word on the cover, Winter. Inside were reports, sightings, patterns, a dozen incidents across 3 continents, all unsolved, all involving a single shooter, all protecting civilians from threats the military couldn't stop in time. The man worked for an organization that didn't officially exist. They tracked people like Winter, not to stop them, to support them, to make sure they had what they needed. Ammunition, intelligence, extraction plans. Winter never asked for help, never accepted it, but they provided it anyway. Left caches in safe houses, dropped coordinates through encrypted channels, made sure she always had an exit, because people like her were rare, precious, necessary. The world was full of strands, full of rebels and terrorists and warlords who thrived on chaos. It needed Winters, ghosts who fought back, who refused to quit, who stood between evil and the innocent. The man got into a car, drove to the airport, boarded a flight to nowhere important. His job was simple: keep the legends alive, make sure Winter and others like her could continue their work. He'd never meet her, never speak to her. She didn't know he existed. But he knew her, studied her, admired her. And when she needed support, he'd provide it, silently, efficiently, without credit. Just like her. In Montana, Winter woke to sunrise. The cabin was cold. She started a fire, made coffee, sat by the window. The rifle hung above the fireplace, quiet, patient, waiting. She thought about Calloway, about Rachel, about the city she'd saved. She wondered if they remembered her, doubted it. That was fine. Memory wasn't why she fought. Recognition wasn't the goal. She fought because someone had to. Because evil existed. Because the innocent needed protecting. And because she was good at it. Better than anyone. That was enough. That would always be enough. The sun rose over the mountains. Gold, beautiful, new. Winter finished her coffee, cleaned the rifle, checked her equipment. Not because she had a mission, because she was always ready, always prepared. When the call came, and it would come, she'd answer. With precision, with purpose, with the quiet certainty of someone who knew exactly who they were. A legend, a ghost, a soldier who died but never stopped fighting. Winter. Forever. The snow melted, spring bloomed, the world moved forward. But in the shadows, in the silence, In the spaces between official records and public knowledge, legends remained, watching, waiting, protecting.